I'm going to explain the sampling primitive of model context protocol with a code example. And why did I wanted to explain this primitive with a code is because yesterday one of my friends asked me, what is this sampling primitive of model context protocol? So I explained him theoretically, but then I realized that if I complement that theoretical explanation with a code sample, it will be easier for people to understand what goes on under the hood of this primitive, right? But what is this sampling primitive? Before we go and look at the code, let's understand this sampling primitive. By the way, there are a lot of primitives within model context protocol. Sampling is one of them. Sampling allows servers to request language model completions through the client, enabling agentic behaviors while maintaining security and user control, right? That's a mouthful, but let's see how the flow works, right? So when the client calls a tool that requires sampling, the server will send a sampling message back to the client saying, client, to provide you a response from your tool call, I want you to execute a LLM call, right? So I'm sending you a sampling message type, and in the client, when we create the MCP client, the session that we create, right, that session will have a sampling callback. It triggers a sampling callback. In that sampling callback, you write the logic, right? And the logic here is that in the sampling callback, you send it to a human first. You don't need to, but you can send it to a human first, because we we want human in the loop, right? So human, we ask the human, the MCP server is asking for executing a LLM call. Do you approve? When the user says yes, I approve, go ahead and execute the LLM on behalf of the server. The client will call the LLM with the input that it got from the server. The LLM will return the generation. The human will again, like in that sampling callback, and you'll see the logic soon. The human reviews the output. If the output is okay, the client then completes returns a approved response to the server, and the server returns the client the final response, right? Let's see how we have coded it, right? Now, while coding, I was little lazy, right? Why? Because I did not create a streamable HTTP based MCP server and MCP client. I used stdio client, right? Which where your client and the server needs to be in the same local machine. So right now also the client and the server is in the same machine. I'll not go through the entire code. I'll go through the specific part of the code which explains this sampling required, right? So what I did is, let me go to the server first, right? What I did is I created a MCP tool, right? The call, this is the call tool, right? And in that call tool, right, so from the MCP, I'll do a call tool with the name of the tool. And if the name of the tool is ask_LLM, I take the question. So from the MCP client, I pass the argument also. So we'll look at the client also so that we understand what the client is passing. So what the client is doing, so run demo is the one that the client is running. And here, if you see, as I was telling, right, the STDO client, I have a sampling callback, but I'll come to the sampling callback. But what the client is doing is, client is doing a list tool first, right? Remember, in MCP, we have two types of calls, right? One is list tool, one is call tool, right? So it is doing the list tool. We have only one tool, which is our okay. The list tool will go to the server, right? And you saw in the server we had the call tool. So if I go to list tool, right, the list tool is the like, see the tools list, right? This is the call that goes to the server. The server will send me the tool names in the result, right? And then since I have only one tool name, I am actually, for this I did not have to also do the list tool also. I'm hard coding the tool name anyway here, but this is where I am calling the tool in the server, right? Ideally, how it happens is you do a list tool. Once the tool's names are there, you give it to the LLM. LLM says, okay, this is the tool I would like to execute. Then you do a call tool with the name of the tool, right? If you are using MCP registry, then the flow is different. But without MCP registry, the LLM decides what tool to call. So in this case, let's say the LLM decided to call the ask LLM tool. Now the client is doing a call tool. First it did a list tool, got the tool it want to call, which is ask LLM. It is doing now a call tool with the question, what are the 3 laws of robotics? This is what now the call tool, like when it comes to the call tool, it is getting the question, and this is where it is saying that for answering this question, I need you to do a sampling. That means I need you to call an LLM, right? So it sends this system prompt back to the client. The client now executes the system callback. What is there in the system callback? Or sorry, the sampling callback. In the sampling callback, this is where I do the human review. I say human review, right? Are you okay if I run the LLM call? If the human says yes, then I am calling a anthropic model to create the response, right? And after creating the response, I'm again doing a human review of the response. And if the response human says, okay, I'm good with the response, then the client is creating a message back to the server, sending the message back to the server, right, to the create message result, returning the response to the server, and it goes back to the server, and then it completes that request, right? So let me run this. So okay, I run this by python client.py. So if you see what it did is, okay, so yeah, it starts from here. Connected to the MCP server, available tool is ask LLM. It's called the server to ask LLM, receive the sampling create message from the server. It got the sampling message from the server. System prompt was, you are a concise, helpful assistant, answer the user's question clearly in 2-3 sentences. This is the one, right? This is the message, user message, right? Then we had the user approval. User said request approved. Then it forwarded the approve request to LLM, which is Claude Opus here. LLM generation received. We again did the human review. LLM response was this, right? The human reviewed it and we returned the approved response to the server, and the final result was this, right? So this is how the sampling primitive works within Model Context Protocol. Thank you.